Okay. So, first off, about how old were you during the 50s? Like teenagers or?
Well,
Late
from our,
50s, late 50s.
yeah, late 50s is when we were teenagers. From maybe 42 to 50. In 1950, I was 8 years old. And he was 9. So,
Okay.
and then we went into our teenage years.
Okay. Where did you live during the 50s?
Where did we live?
Yeah.
I lived in Kingston, Pennsylvania on Division Street.
And I lived in Curtis Street
In Kingston.
in Kingston.
Yeah.
Okay. So, could you tell me about your family during that time? Like
Sure.
What jobs did your parents have, stuff like that?
Sure. I'll go first. Okay. My mother did not work. She was a stay-at-home mom. My dad was a coal miner his whole life. And at that time, he was working at the Knox Mine up in Pittston, Pennsylvania. I had a sister who was a nurse. She was in nurses training and became a nurse. She graduated from Nesbitt Hospital School of Nursing. My other sister graduated from Kingston High School and worked for a bank in Wilkes-Barre. And I was going to school, of course, and then I had a younger brother. He was a baby through the 50s. And he used to watch Howdy Doody and that whole works in through the 50s. And that was our family.
Okay.
My mother didn't work. My father was a career serviceman in the Coast Guard. And I was born in Norfolk, Virginia.
Oh, really?
And
I know that.
yeah, near the, I guess it was on the base, 1941.
Oh, okay.
And after the war, I guess it was 46, we moved back up to Wilkes-Barre, Kingston.
Well, your sister, tell them about your sister.
Yeah,
She was 3 years ahead of you in high school
right.
at Kingston High. And your brother
my
was a
brother
baby.
was 15 years younger than me.
So he was an infant
Yeah.
in the 50s.
Well, he was a baby.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what was school like during the 50s?
I went to public school up until 7th grade. And we always walked to school. We walked home for lunch. I was a patrol. The patrol would be at the street corners to cross the kids on their way home for lunch and to come back from lunch. But you always went home for lunch. And I didn't start eating lunch in a school cafeteria until I was a freshman in high school. And I did start parochial school at that point, and I did graduate from a parochial school. But the school was great, and you were there, you started at 9 o'clock in the morning, and you were there until about 3:30 or 3:45. And like I said, you'd walk home for lunch. And I didn't start really staying after school for any clubs or anything until probably 7th grade is when we started clubs and activities like that. And then we would come home later from school because we would have meetings or something. But up until then, it was we were just involved as a patrol. Or what we used to do, we were on duty to erase the boards and clap the erasers and all that kind of stuff to help the teachers out in grade school. And what did you do?
I went to the public school system. And in high school, when I played football freshman year. Second year, sophomore, I played football, and I think track, and also wrestling. And I got hurt playing football my freshman year. I broke my hand. And to me that was a good thing because I wasn't able to play the accordion anymore. I got off of that.
You get out of playing the accordion.
You really played the accordion?
Oh yeah.
I can add, I didn't know he was going to go into what he did in high school. Once I started parochial school, like I said, I got on the newspaper staff. I was a cheerleader. I was on the softball team. I played basketball. And I really liked the newspaper staff. There was what we called the Catholic Students Mission Crusade. I was in that, and I was an officer in my last couple years. And in my senior year in high school, I was vice president of the senior class. So they were the things that I participated in. I was in the Fringe Club and the Latin Club and all the clubs that were concerned with the languages that I took. But the big thing was the newspaper and the cheerleading and the basketball team that I was on. I never hurt myself.
So, like, what differences can you draw between school when you went and schools today?
I think the kids are involved in a lot more activities that take them away from, like, a lot of the family things. I know, other than cheerleading at football games, I was always present for the evening meals at home, and the Sundays were always with the family versus anything going on. Our classes, I don't know how big the classes are now, but we always had 30 or 35 people in our class. Our classes, I thought, were fairly large. We didn't start changing classes until, I didn't change classes until probably my freshman year in high school. Other than that, the same teacher taught me everything up until that point. What would you say was the difference?
Well, I think that we had a lot, our sports growing up was on the back alleys or on the roads. Somebody would have a baseball bat and somebody else would have a ball, and we'd just play in the field. Mm-hmm. And nothing was organized.
No, right.
Not until we got to high school.
When we were in grade school and all through the 50s, you would just, there were friends in the neighborhood, you would gather and you would talk in the evenings, or we played kickball in the street, a street over from us that wasn't a busy street. And then we would sit and talk until our parents called us home. And then we'd go home. And we'd go to the library and get books and read the books and exchange books between us. And
one thing, if it was too far to walk, we didn't go there.
Okay.
Right, we didn't have a car, so
okay.
Everything was around the block.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually the next question I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Did you have a
Yeah,
car?
yeah.
To the movie or to the grocery store?
What was the question you were going to ask?
I was going to ask if your family owned a car.
Our family owned a car. And my father worked, he left at 5 o'clock in the morning for work, and he came home at 5 o'clock in the evening. So the car was never available to us. So we walked everywhere. If there was a game going on at the school, you walked to the school. Cheerleading practice, you walked home from school. And on Sundays, my father worked 6 days a week. So on Sundays was our day with the family. And what we did was go for a ride on Sundays and stop for ice cream on the way home. And you would have get-togethers.
Yeah, we got together on the weekend.
On weekends, yeah.
Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't have a vehicle. Somehow we got there.
Mm-hmm. They would meet at their relatives' homes.
Or
And
we'd walk.
the whole crowd would get together every Sunday, yeah. But Sunday